We were like polar opposites.
Go
I was
on.
like house music, like yeah, I'm so excited. Let's go. And he's like this and
So, new guys, we're a couple of months in. How are you finding the shows so far?
It's absolutely brilliant. On my journey home, I suddenly started to realize how many people you pass in the street wearing like Gryffindor scarves and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems so normal, and then suddenly you tune into it, and then you're like, oh, this is massive.
I had a similar experience when Magic John showed us the video of, is it 1st September?
Yeah,
when
I
they
was
gather
there,
at
yeah.
King's Cross. And when he showed me that video of the crowd there, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
A lot of people like Harry Potter.
Also, I think we didn't really need the warm-ups that we had in rehearsals because there's so many stairs in the theatre.
Oh my goodness.
I have got the chunkiest thighs since we relocated to the theatre.
And we're not allowed to use the lifts during the show as well. So it's poor
Constantly.
people on floor 5 as well.
The play itself is good enough to play in a rehearsal room without the magic and the sets.
Completely.
Because like, you know, the play that Jack and John have made is amazing. But when you put all the other stuff in it,
Yeah,
it
all the
just
bells and whistles,
flies.
yes.
It's crazy.
And it's a big show. Because in the rehearsal room, it feels like a play.
Yeah, it feels really intimate, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Feel
a little family story,
Yeah.
and then becomes something else.
epic.
Yeah.
My favourite scene is watching the final scene with you two in the rehearsal room. Because that's just two people talking and you realise, as you said, that this is you know, with all the bells and whistles, it's an epic story, but at the heart of it, it's about family and it can just be told beautifully.
How has it been joining this cast after, you know, spending so long in Melbourne?
I've been starting the new time with all of these new wonderful people and being a newbie myself, so that's been exciting. But then I've also met like distant family members that have been telling the same story across the seas, and there is something extra special about doing a show where it was written, created and set.
So Denitra, baby girl, Ellis, Harry, what's it been like to have your West End debut?
Utterly insane. Like mad when you get up there and like you're like, there's 1,000 million people watching you and you're just like center stage sometimes. You're like, wow, like everyone's expecting me to say something amazing now.
You see like the grand theatre and the grand like show that's presented before you, but actually what I think you sometimes don't realise, and what I didn't appreciate, was actually the heart of the people within the show backstage and how supported I felt throughout this entire process. But like literally within the first week, there was not a shadow of doubt that I would be having a wonderful time in this journey, and I am. Like it's absolutely brilliant, and I'm just so happy.
It hasn't sunk in that it's a West End debut. It hasn't. There's not been a moment other than maybe opening night where me and you were in that dressing room and you had that excitement building and I was mortified. But other than that
we were
day,
like polar opposites.
Go
I was
on.
like house music, like yeah, I'm so excited. Let's go. And he's like this and
but I said, you know, there's not been a moment I've thought, you know, the kind of epicness and the weight, the pressure of a West End debut hasn't hit me.
It's my West End debut, and you three and the rest of the young team have been totally inspiring for me. Your confidence, your kind of excitement, the way the excitement just trumps the nerves every time. You're like, I'm just ready to do the show now. And I was like, okay, so you've been inspiring to me.
I wouldn't undersell yourself though, because the shock that just came around this when you reminded us it's also your West End debut. Everyone went,
I was like,
oh yeah, what? So yeah, don't undersell yourself, Jade. It's pretty, incredible what you do.
Any job that you do, you're going into a group of people where you've no idea if you're all going to get on, and this is a long year, and actually everybody is totally charming, and it's a real spirit lifter. It's it feels a very special company.
So where were you all when you found out about getting the gig?
I remember I had a Wednesday and I texted my agent. I said, have we heard anything? Because it's my day off today and I'm going to lose my mind if I don't hear. And so I made myself a sausage bat, sat at my dining table in my dressing gown. I got a call from my agent. I picked it up and it was a FaceTime and I was like this. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm in my dressing gown. And he was like, you got it. So yeah, I mean, thank God I didn't have to sit on it all day because I would have lost my mind. My agent knew that I'd made friends with this lad who was with Albus, and he specifically said, you cannot speak to anyone else who you're auditioning with. So we just then went from like speaking to each other quite a lot to never saying another
to
word.
Radio silence until the costume, the first costume fitting, and I came down the elevator and I came out into that
like,
cool station, sitting area,
just sat there
and you
on
sit
my
there
phone.
with his cool jacket that I always complimented, and I was like, no way!
I just
And we
looked
just
up
went
and I was
crazy
like,
and jumped in a circle together.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Nice.
That's brilliant.
3, 2,
1.
It's really interesting taking on characters that are so well known and so well loved, like stepping into that and deciding how we're gonna have our take on that. How's it been for you, David? Because you've got the most known, the most loved one.
Yeah, like it's quite interesting taking on the role of Harry Potter. You feel like you're taking in your hands something that's really precious and means a lot to a lot of people, and who's probably been with them through their childhood. And the nice thing about doing the play is that you get to do it 20 years after he leaves Hogwarts. So I'm not trying to be a 16-year-old Harry. You've got to just forget about like what people's preconceptions are and then just try and play what feels true to you.
It's kind of different for you guys because these are brand new characters. For us four, these characters are hugely loved, and people have lived and grown up with these characters and turned to these characters as well. Like some of the fans that I've met over the years have said, I was going through this horrible period, I was having grief, and I turned to the books and it got me through. And there's a huge amount of pressure in that. However, as you say, we aren't playing these characters as they were in the books. And 19 years has gone past, so we do have a certain amount of license.
The joy in being able to kind of create these different paths that Hermione go on. I feel really lucky that I haven't had to kind of make set decisions, or I've been able to make so many decisions in how she is shaped by different circumstances.
For me, like Harry Potter's always been something that's been a massive part of my family, and it's always been something that we've kind of done together. We were coming back from holiday and we had kind of like we were up in the air and we were like, we're going to book to see Harry Potter. So I came to see it with my parents. We watched the show, obviously, loved it. And my mum said to me, she was like, I feel like you could be in this. And I was like, yeah, I definitely feel like I could play Albus. and she goes, I feel like you could play Scorpius. And I was like,
Yes, Mum.
I'm not sure. Well, it turns out Mother always knows better.
A really, really special connection that I've found as an aunt to so many nieces and nephews. I have 21 nieces and nephews.
Wow.
But my favorite part about being in this show has been just this like beautiful connection with all the little people in my life, and them thinking that I'm a witch, and that just has been the most special takeaway, I think, being in the wizarding world.
There's so many items from the Harry Potter lore, the history. There are moments where I take a step back and go, oh my goodness, I'm using this. Like, Harry got to use this in this book, and it's really that's amazing. That's a really cool thing to be able to do on stage.
And the costumes are incredible in the show, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like, the palette is beautiful.
I tell you, the care that the makers have given all the different costumes. In any show, when you first do your dress rehearsal and you look at everybody and you're like, wow, you look amazing. But this is like, people are constantly changing and they have like loads of different looks. And it's like, how can you look so brilliant in 8 times? Being quite small and stuff, I never wear clothes that fit me properly. And suddenly I have a jumper that to the millimeter is made for me, and it's like such a gift. You think, wow, there's some amazing lady in Cornwall who's knitted it to this specification. You think, that's just so kind.
I feel like your real costumes turns you into someone else, because I'm always off stage when you walk off, when you've pulled in the library scene, and the way you walk off stage.
Really?
I'm like, oh my god.
For me
She's
personally,
transformed.
it is the wigs. And the minute I put my rose wig on, like that's when I'm like, okay, and she's arrived, and I'm like getting my uniform perfect in all the ways I feel like she'd get it. It helps me sink into that character so much, and like putting on that wig for the first time and looking in the mirror, I'm like, oh my god, it's me, but it's not quite me.
Yeah.
And it looks like amazing. It's crazy. And then when everything kicks off and then we jump into V World, I have this phenomenal, like bob, like that's got like this
The
like
bayang.
fringe, the bayang, which we've named Edna after Edna Mode. And like the minute I put that on, I think like it turns me into like something else, and like I'm ready, like fold them more, like, like.
Yeah.
Who likes Christmas pudding here?
Very happy with it.
There we go! Merry Christmas!
What some people might not realise is that actually being stood on the stage is as big of a spectacle in some of those moments as when you're watching it in the audience. You see it up close and personal and you still think, there's got to be some element of magic involved in that. I just want every audience member, when they come to see it, to look at the height of the theatre and think, yes, that's pretty high up. It's my second audition, came on a lovely Tuesday afternoon, then they took me 40 foot in the air and then dropped me to the floor. And then off I went on my merry way.
Yeah.
This is what blows my mind about the show. I didn't even know you fly in the show.
There are so many bits of the show that you
I
never
see
see
people coming
because
off.
you're in the middle of doing a crazy quick change
Yeah.
or you're substage, and you do completely miss bits of the
So
show
often
unless you get to see
I
it.
see people come off stage and I'm like, what have you just been doing? They're like,
Yeah.
magic.
It's a bit of
Bit of an illusion.
There's two sides to our magic. Some of it is really old-fashioned magic that's been around for like over 100 years. It's like in the Bible of the magic circle. And then there's other things that they've literally created for this show. With bits like that, you learn stuff as you go along and you go, okay, I never thought of that. That's a possibility that could happen. So let's put this in place just to change that. Going back to that final battle, for me, that's one of the bits where I stand on stage and go, you feel the heat, don't you? You actually feel that on your face and go, whoa, this
It was
is...
like the first time I saw the Patronus, because I saw it, I was in
Goodness,
rehearsal.
cold.
I don't think I was even supposed to be there. And I was like, oh my God, it's actual, why are they setting it on fire?
I come up close and personal with that Patronus, and I will tell you, it is hot. And I'm wearing that like thick coat as well, and it's literally like being stood next to a fireplace.
Thing that amazes me is the speed and accuracy with which people run on and off with staircases and big bits of set, off stage, turning a corner like that. I'm just like, how are you doing that without smashing everything in your way?
Yeah, there's a full
skill of the
show
crew
choreographed
is
backstage.
And that totally touches on how it is such a team effort, whether you see the
Yes.
entire team on stage or whether you just see the tip of the iceberg. Quite often we are the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And, even something as simple as casting a spell is timing with sound effect, lighting,
Yes.
maybe fire, whatever that spell is doing to someone, another actor on stage. You doing that with your hand is the least kind of interesting thing about that entire. It's such a team effort.
So much has gone into it to lead up to that point, to earn that kind of snapshot moment, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
They're working incredibly hard to make us look good.
Yeah.
So Polly, we share a dressing room, so I know the best part of your day is when we first. But other than that, what's the best part of your day?
I have to say, going back to the magic illusions, is that I love a firework. I know how all the illusions are done, and yet they still delight me. But there's one illusion, which apparently is the simplest one, and it makes me happy every day. And it's just something in a little dinner scene between the Weasleys and the Potters. And it's a very simple one that Harry does. And honestly, I could watch it again and again and again and again.
I spend a lot of time in hair and makeup chair. I visit them multiple times. They're a great, a wonderful bunch of very talented people that make you look lovely. And I love having a joke and a chat with them.
We all like find each other in the wings, and we're like, we're all in our garb, ready to go. And there's just an electricity. You can feel the electricity that's from the audience. Everybody's just waiting to see you. There's an electricity backstage because we're kind of like ready to go. And like, we're there, we're ready
And
for
it's
the...
like dark.
Yeah,
it feels kind of cozy, you feel kind of
atmospheric.
protected. And
Yeah,
we've
you
got
feel so
Ian.
safe. And we've got
Ian
back there cracking
just
jokes.
makes-
And it just feels, it's a really nice, warm feeling to like jumpstart the saga.
Every time we finish that scene and I run off with the trolley after I've said bye to you, Ian's always waiting for me in the corner to shake my hand and wish me luck for the rest of the show, and that's my favourite part. So Ian's clearly just the heart of the entire show, because that's what sets me up for the rest of the. If he wasn't there, I don't know what I'd do. I think the whole show would fall apart for me personally if Ian wasn't there to wish me luck.
So, we've had a lovely time.
Yes.
You've all got places to go, so have a lovely
Thanks
Christmas.
for having us
Yeah.
for
That's all
Christmas
right.
dinner.
Just thanks for coming to my humble
you.
abode. Cheers. Yeah, I'm just gonna clear up. Oh yeah, don't. Yeah, don't take.
Cheers.
I was gonna. It's not really left me